All right, then. Ready to dive into another La Liga battle.
Absolutely. Always up for a deep dive into Spanish football.
This time, we're looking at Barcelona. They're undefeated, top of the table, and they just faced off against Getafe. Now, you might think, easy win for Barca, right?
On paper. Absolutely.
Well, we're going deeper with this goal.com analysis, and let me tell you, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park for them.
Not at all. A 1-0 squeaker.
A 1-0 nail-biter, can you believe that?
And on top of that, a missed golden chance that had everyone holding their breath, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely getting into that. So, where do we even begin?
Well, the interesting thing about this Barcelona win is that it was a hard-fought battle. They really had to work for it. This Getafe side, they didn't just roll over. They came in with a game plan, you could tell.
Oh, like that. A team with a plan. Always dangerous.
Exactly. And they've actually drawn several of their past matches against Barcelona.
Wow, really? So they've got Barca's number, at least to some extent.
You could say that. They definitely know how to make life difficult for them.
So we've got Getafe coming in with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, ready to play spoiler.
Absolutely.
Love it. But a win's a win, right?
Yeah.
What's goal.com saying about how Barcelona managed to pull it off? Or should I say, barely pulled it off?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Hmm.
Getafe's goalkeeper, Soria, had an absolute blinder.
No way.
He was incredible, pulling off saves left and right, including a phenomenal stop against Lamine Yamal in the second half.
Hold on, Lamine Yamal, that young star everyone's talking about.
The one and only. The article calls Soria's save world class.
World class.
And honestly, they're not wrong. It was something special.
All right, so we've got a determined Getafe side, a goalkeeper standing on his head. I'm already feeling for the Getafe fans, you know. Their team is frustrating Barcelona, their keeper's on fire, and then what happens?
Well, despite all that, Barcelona did what they do best. They found a way. Robert Lewandowski, Mr. Reliable himself, he slots in his 7th goal of the season.
Lewandowski, the goal-scoring machine, strikes again.
And the kicker is, he capitalized on a rare error from, you guessed it, Soria.
Oh, no, even after all that. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions.
Right, you've got a feel for Soria, but that's football sometimes.
It really is. 1 minute you're the hero, the next. But hold on, before we move on, let's rewind a bit to that golden chance for Getafe you mentioned.
Ah, yes, the one that got away.
Who was it who had the opportunity to be the hero?
That would be Borja Mayoral. Imagine the pressure coming off the bench late in the game, score tied, the chance to be the giant slayer.
And he misses. Oh, man. I can practically hear the collective groan from the Getafe faithful.
A tough moment for sure.
It really goes to show, in football, the margin for error is razor thin.
Couldn't agree more.
One moment can change everything.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got this nail-biter of a match, a heroic goalkeeper performance, and a missed opportunity that will probably haunt Mayoral's dreams.
Right.
But this is a goal.com player ratings piece we're diving into, so let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Right.
What stood out to you?
The article really digs into the tactical side of things, and what's striking is that while Barcelona secured the win, their overall performance wasn't exactly glowing.
Underwhelming.
Some might even call it underwhelming.
Underwhelming. For the team sitting at the top of La Liga, now that's unexpected. I need details.
Sure.
Who caught goal.com's critical eye?
One of the most surprising aspects was Frankie de Jong's rating.
De Jong.
Typically a midfield maestro, he received a surprisingly low score this time around.
He's usually so reliable, the engine that keeps Barcelona ticking.
Yeah.
What happened there? Did he have an off day?
It appears so. The article suggests that Getafe's midfield did an excellent job of closing down space, which limited his impact, particularly in the first half.
Wow, 75%.
While he grew into the game eventually, it wasn't his most commanding performance. In fact, his passing accuracy in the first half was only around 75%, a far cry from his usual standards.
That's almost unheard of for a player like de Jong.
Right.
It really highlights how a well-executed game plan can disrupt even the most talented players.
Precisely. And it underscores that football is a team sport.
Right.
On days when one star player might be slightly off, it's up to the rest of the team to shoulder the burden.
Which brings us back to Getafe. They clearly did their homework. Did the article elaborate on their tactics? How did they manage to stifle a team like Barcelona?
Their strategy was a masterclass in defensive discipline and strategic counterattacking. They clearly identified Barcelona's strengths and found ways to neutralize them, forcing them into uncomfortable situations and limiting their opportunities.
So it wasn't just about Soria's heroics in goal.
No.
Getafe's entire defensive line deserves credit for executing this game plan effectively.
Absolutely. They were incredibly organized, disciplined, and clearly well-drilled. Their performance begs the question, can other teams replicate this blueprint and potentially expose a vulnerability in Barcelona's attack?
That's a question many La Liga teams will be pondering, I'm sure. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to circle back to someone we briefly touched upon, Lamine Yamal. Right, Lamine Yamal. This kid is just 16 years old, and everyone's talking about him.
He's definitely got the buzz going.
What did Goal.com have to say about his performance?
They were impressed, to say the least.
He may not have gotten on the score sheet this time, but the article highlights his fearlessness and creativity on the ball.
Right.
We talked about that world-class save from Soria.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like that was Yamal on the receiving end.
It was. But even against a goalkeeper at the top of his game, Yamal's talent shone through. The article specifically praises his dribbling skills and his knack for creating chances, even in tight spaces.
For a player so young to have that composure in a pressure cooker like La Liga is remarkable.
Well, absolutely.
He's definitely one to keep an eye on. It feels like we're witnessing the start of something special.
I agree. And, when you step back and look at this match, Barcelona's narrow victory, their somewhat subdued performance, it raises a really intriguing question.
Hit me with it.
Does this match expose a potential chink in Barcelona's armor? Can other teams, by replicating Getafe's blueprint of disciplined defending and strategic counterattacking, potentially unlock the secret to defeating the seemingly invincible Catalan giants?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is this a blip on the radar for Barcelona or a sign of things to come? Will this result embolden other teams to adopt a similar approach? I guess only time will tell.
And that's the beauty of football. Every match is a story waiting to unfold. We saw it firsthand here, the tactical battle, the individual brilliance, the near misses, the improbable saves all, culminating in a result that leaves us with more questions than answers.
You said it. This deep dive into Barcelona's victory was a wild ride. We saw Lewandowski do what he does best, felt the agony of Mayoral's missed opportunity, and witnessed the rise of a young star in Yamal.
It's a brilliant reminder that football is never predictable. It's a game of inches, of moments, and sometimes it's the underdog who steals the show, even in defeat.
Beautifully put. So, to our listener, we leave you with this thought. Does this narrow win expose a flaw in Barcelona's game, or is it simply a testament to the unpredictable nature of the beautiful game? Think on that, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.